countries there have been what people have called velvet revolutions. Is this Burma the kind of country that might have a velvet revolution or something rather tougher and harder?
I have to confess that I don't quite associate velvet with the military, but it would be nice if this kind of thing could happen. And apart from the fact that I think it would be nice, I think we also have to try to make this kind of thing happen.
Try.
Well, I don't know whether, as I say, velvet revolution sounds a little strange, but I mean in the context of the military. But a non-violent revolution, let's put it that way.
So,
because a great change means a revolution, whether it's violent or non-violent, and we would like a non-violent, peaceful revolution.
If I report, as a result of what you've said, that you're looking for a non-violent revolution, will that get you put back under house arrest again, do you think?
I don't quite know how they would interpret the word revolution. I don't know how you are using the word revolution, but for me, revolution simply means radical change, if you like, or noticeable change. A revolution is something that people do notice. It's not something that just goes by quietly. So it will have to be a great change for the better, brought about through non-violent means.
And that's the message that you want all your supporters to know. You want it to be peaceful, whatever happens.
I think my supporters know that already, that I do not believe in violence, because I do not think that violence really pays. I think violence begets more violence.
They'll be watching you, of course, every second of the day, won't they? There's a whole line of security people.
It might get tedious for them every second of the day. Perhaps they'll let up a little.
But you know what I mean, that it's perfectly possible this room is bugged and that they'll know more about what you're saying than the BBC's audience, or quicker at any rate. How conscious will you have to be of that? Or are you just going to ignore it?
Actually, I just thought about it before you brought it up. I'd forgotten that they were sitting on the other side of the street. You can't think about that all the time. You'd never get any work done.
You're not going to change. You're not going to.
No, I'm not going to be foolhardy. But I can't think about this all the time. Are they watching me? Of course, I'm conscious of the fact that they might have bugged a room, that they might be listening onto my telephone conversations, and I hope reasonably cautious.
What's your guess, your assessment of the situation? I mean, do you think that they will be looking to find some excuse to shut you up again, or do you think now they've taken a step beyond that?
I don't know whether I could say that they've taken a step beyond any thought of arresting me, but I think rather than simply looking for an excuse to arrest me again, they might be considering the matter, or rather I hope they would be considering the matter in a more mature manner. Is there any need really to re-arrest me? I hope they will think about it in that way rather than now what other charge can we trump up.
Do you think there'll be any possibility of speaking to the president or to any of the senior military figures?
I don't know. I would like to think that there are many possibilities, but I cannot say that I really think there are possibilities. I think we have to create this.
What did you think when you heard that the government of India had said that the elections last week were free and fair? What did you think when the Chinese government refused to make any criticism whatever of the way that things have been done?
I was not really surprised, but I have to say I was a little saddened because after all, India and China are our neighbors, closest neighbors, and we've had very good relations with these two countries all along. In India, the close relations between our two peoples goes back to our struggle against the British, and so we are close we were close to each other, and we have been close to each other, and it's the same thing with China. So it does sadden me that the fate of the people of Burma does not seem to concern them as much as I would wish it would.
And of course, in the 7 years since you've been under house arrest, China has been moving into Burma in a big way, buying up things at cheap prices, timber, precious materials of all kinds. What do you think about that?
They're able to buy because they're those who are selling. So I think one's got to look to one's own country first. All those people who are selling to China or any other country selling in a responsible way. That is the first thing we have to look at. Because after all, in this age, every country tries to do as much as it possibly can to better its trade situation. This is the age of commerce, not just handloom.
And you think that the government, the military government's been handing the stuff over for virtually nothing?
I don't know how much they're getting for it, but certainly there does not seem to have been any, there does not seem to happen, but there's no transparency as far as these things are concerned. So we don't know under what terms our resources are being sold.
What do you think about the Western governments and their support for you? I mean, some have been very strong. The Americans have been very strong. The British, very strong. What about some of the others?
We have to make a difference between governments and people. I think the peoples of the democratic countries have been very, very supportive. And talking about France, for example, the French government has been very supportive too. It's not just France and Germany or or a few Western nations, but I think many, many countries wanted the elections to be the answer because it's easier that way. And I think they would have wished for anybody to take part in the elections because then they could accept these elections as a new move forward. But we couldn't in all conscience accept it as such. And I think some of our allies and friends were a bit disappointed, but I think now they understand much better since the elections why we felt it would not be a good idea to support them.
You still think that wasn't right?
I think it was the right decision.
Do you think you can come back to terms with parties that were very critical of you and which decided to take...
Of course. If you can't take criticism, it's better not to be in politics.
So you don't hold any grudges against them?
No, there are some parties whom I feel, with whom I feel we share more common ground than others, but they have a right to decide what they want to do, and we have a right to disagree.
And will you talk to those kind of political
leaders? Of course.
You're free to do that, are you?
Well, I'm free. I don't know whether they feel they're free. I feel I'm free to talk to anybody I wish to talk to.
Nobody's given you a list of conditions or anything?
No, not at all. I don't think they're allowed to under the law.
So you can say what you like and do what you like?
Of course. I can talk to you. They'll find out I've talked to you because I assume it is not for your private archive. So, and I don't mind. I have every right to talk to you.
Are you scared by the thought that they might reimpose some kind of imprisonment on you?
No, I'm not scared. I know that there is always a possibility because they've done that in the past. They might do it again. So I was saying this to the BBC last night. My attitude is I'll do as much as I can while I'm free, and if I'm re-arrested, I'll do as much as I can to arrest.